What's up, friends? The bus is out, which is good news. So we have here Silvia number 1, dragged it up, finally got to it. Recently got a new job, which is awesome. So I pulled my finger out and actually ordered the turbo and the gaskets I need to get the other motor in this thing and get it running. Idiot me, actually though, forgot until today that I should probably buy some front and rear main seals. So a lot of them this week. But yeah, just been having this thing up here, cleaning it out. As you can see, the old battery situation's a bit sad. The wiring's a little bit sad. It was holding water. Obviously this boot seal's rooted. Also there's like a hole in the boot. This boot is terrible. It will not be staying on the car. But anyway, I had to pull that plug to allow the water to drain. So obviously it sat in there a bit and created a bit of rust, which I'm going to have to repair. So you can see just how terrible this boot is. Like it is horrible, horrible, terrible boot. So boot's definitely coming off. Same with that bonnet, as I explained in like the first episode of these things. Inside's actually pretty tidy. Got a whole heap of looks like sound system wiring, which is, you know, pretty useless for what I want to do. So I'll probably rip that out. But yeah, it's actually not too bad inside. Pretty happy with it. Sunroof, I've hooked it up to a battery and now, like, all the electrics work, the electric windows work, the sunroof works. Just got that crack in it, which is from a hit that it's obviously had on the front at some point. So yeah, it's been hit on the front here at some point. There's a bit of a crease in the bonnet there and a crack in the sunroof, so I'm about to put it on the hoist and just see how bad it is. I do have 4 of them wheels. One was in the back there. So got the 25 on the stand. This is just all the stuff I pulled out of the Silvia. A few spare stuff, which is pretty good. This exhaust is something else. It is absolutely horrible. Horrible. But anyway, got AFM and filter and timing covers. Even actually the valley cover's still in there, which is, you know, good because I like that sort of thing. Rex is playing with some ECUs, doing some stuff. But yeah, bus is out, stuff's happening. Good. So get cracking on this Silvia and get this new motor in it. Yeah, got a few little spots of rust coming through there. They need to be sorted out. Got a bit of a bent sill there. I'll have to check that out. It'll do for a drift car, basically. And, you know, just a dirty street car. I'll probably end up selling this, but anyway, see what happens with it, I suppose. Yeah, like I said, for now it's just going to be standard RB25 ECU because I am a broke person at the moment. Going to be pretty much standard RB25 for now. I've ordered just an eBay 3076 to chuck on it. So just turn the fuel up a bit, probably run it about 10 PSI, just on the standard ECU and just keep it at that for a while. And obviously if I get to it and I have the money, I will throw a decent ECU in it, a new set of injectors, and go a bit more crazy. If not, well then I'll sell it. I don't know. Should still get pretty good money for a mod-plated RB25 gearboxed S13, even if it is just a standard ECU and that. So. So, as you can see, it all definitely needs a tidy up. Definitely needs to be tidied up. Sort of looks like everything was just thrown at it, same as the other one I sort of sorted out. Like, that sort of just sat in there, everything sat in there. Fuel pressure regulators just sat in there, nothing's actually bolted down. It's pretty rough, but you know, just needs a bit of work. That's the important thing, dog. A new motor there. Alright. So, gone over this thing basically all over. It's pretty sad underneath. Honestly, it's a lot worse than I thought it was going to be upon purchase. So, I don't know, looking at it, doing some sums on it, I'm almost thinking, basically the whole idea of this car was that I was buying the other shell and it had a good RB25 in it, and I had no use for the RB25, so I was looking around for a street car that had something like a blown up RB25 in it. I was looking for a Skyline or something that I could use to put my good 25 out of the other shell into and flog it off and make some money. So the whole idea of this car was always it was going to be a street car, and I was going to put my good RB25 in it and basically enjoy it for a little bit and flog it off and try and make some money back. But upon looking at the car, it's too much work. It's too much money and time to get it back to a point where it can go on the road. And I would rather not pour any money into it as a track car, because I'd rather put that money into the other one. I can't bring myself to sell it to someone as it is. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So to get it to a point where I'm happy to sell it to someone, as far as a street car or even a race car, would be just too much time and money. And to do it without that time and money and sell it to someone would basically be criminal, and I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, and it's just not what we do here. So, alright guys, so the Silvias were not as tidy as we thought, which is a bit disappointing. Probably should have looked over it a bit better before I paid for it, but that's just, I suppose, the way things go sometimes. So learn from my mistakes. If you're looking at a car like that, definitely go over it with a fine-tooth comb. I sort of had a quick glance. I never expected it, obviously, to be dead straight as a show car, knowing that it was an RB25 still that was pretty how you going. I just didn't expect it to be quite so bent, I'd say. Anyway, that just happens. So unfortunately, decided to part both Silvias out now instead of building them, simply because I'm just not prepared to put in how much work is going to be required to get them both to where they need to be. So I do have to apologise. I had a lot of positive feedback on the Silvias, a lot of people very interested in what I was going to be doing with them, and to those people who are interested, I do apologise, but it's just not worth doing. They're not too bad. They're not so far gone you couldn't bring them back. It's just that me particularly, I'm not prepared to put in that much work into a Silvia, just because I'm not particularly a Silvia person. I was sort of more inclined to do the street one in order to flog it off and make some money out of the parts I knew I had left over. And there's just too much bodywork and stuff involved in getting it there, so it's just not worth doing. Basically, I'm going to get more money, I suppose, and less time just to part them out. So if you're chasing any Silvia parts, hit me up. I'll be selling, basically everything off them. I'm not what I would call a Silvia fanboy. I never actually really wanted to build a Silvia, particularly in the first place. They're both sort of just opportunistic purchases. One of them was obviously a mate that needed some money, and I sort of had my eye on that Silvia for a little while. I was pretty keen to do it. Knew I wouldn't need the motor, so I was looking for a blown up 25 one, which I found and I bought. But at the end of the day, I didn't have my heart set on a Silvia. It wasn't what I set out to do originally, and they sort of just both popped up at the right time. So it sucks a little bit, but it's not too bad. I do have other plans for another drift car, which stay posted. I'll keep you updated on that. But I would rather put in that effort and money and time into something like the Volvo rather than put it into another Silvia that's just basically going to be another Silvia that I suppose I'm not particularly fond of, or not particularly wanting to do. Didn't have my heart set on doing one in the first place. So apologies to everyone who was very interested, but that's pretty much what's happening. And I will still be obviously building a drift car, but stay tuned and find out what it's going to be.